I'm back, bitches! I'm back, motherfuckers! How's everyone doing? Just getting everything ready here. Pull my hair back a little bit. It's all over the place. There we go. All right. Guys, how is everyone doing? Here we go. Yeah, if that link works, I'm going to need you guys to help keep me on track because I don't really. I've only done one of these. Might have done two of these. So the DC digital or the DC HDMI is not something that I have a great deal of experience with. So today we're going to be pushing this kit into this. You know what? I wonder if I could turn that on too, just for some extra juices here. Oh, I can. Oh, that helps. It's a nice little fill light. Perfect. So we're going to be installing the original V1, which for all intents and purposes, to my understanding, is virtually identical to the V2 with the exception of a few subtle changes in the installation process. From an installation perspective, they're virtually the same. Nonetheless, this is a V1 kit. This is going in a Dreamcast that I'm going to be using as a test system to evaluate analog output across a variety of different cable types and cable mediums. And this system I've had for a long time has an old GDMU clone in it. Works fine, but I just need to spruce it up a little bit. So I've got something here from our friends over at whoever the hell makes these. I've been wanting this case for a long time. We're going to be installing this Code Veronica blue Dreamcast shell. Now this shell I've already taken a few liberties with. To save time, I have went ahead and created a little HDMI output port here, nice and sharp. And, you know, just a little bit of prep work here has already been committed. No problem. I'll put this here. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, I sang that to my grandmother before she died. She's dead. Having said that, let's get started. So, we're going to start by breaking this down. Now, this system, obviously, I've already been in because there's a GDMU just floating around in here. So let's just go ahead and let's zip these out. Nice and easy. I've been asked to do this on a live stream for years and years and years. I promised you guys several months ago that we would. Finally getting to it. So here we have it. Top comes off. And we have a main board. We have GDMU. We have a power supply. We have a few things here to contend with. Now, I personally know that this system has very low hours. Not really interested in recapping it. Quite frankly, it's not necessary. We'll go ahead and de-energize everything. But I'm going to pull the power out here. Very carefully just lift up GDMU. Get it out of the way for now. And we're just going to start by breaking this down. So let's go ahead and just pull out, first of all, the power supply. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's just 2 screws that hold and affix that in position. I'll just grab one of these beefy heat sinks here. Grab it from the back, grab it from the front, and just very gently and carefully prise it. We have a little isolation shield here. I'll just discard these. I'm not going to discard them. I'm just going to relocate them for now. So there's the power supply. Now we have, let's see, a few shield screws here. So we're going to take all of these black screws out. Just like so. Come across. Some of these are already missing, evidently, which that's fine. Not too terribly worried about that. I think I used this system for some other tests. I can't remember. This is just for personal use. This is just something that I'm going to be using. Go ahead and pop this fan out. Well, I need a smaller Phillips bit for that. Just a small, um, just a small little penis pump for me tonight, thank you. But this system, again, is going to be used primarily to evaluate some analog solutions when paired with a formidable scaler. And how well does analog video, especially in 3D space, high bandwidth analog video in 3D space, how well does that hold up to a lossless digital video source? Okay. Now let's go ahead and pop that. Now let's go ahead and pop out the, whoops, controller and battery module unit. Always gets so, let me get at my little masturbatory tweezers. This always gets so finicky for me. Let's see here. Here we go. Perfect. Pull these little screws out. There we go. I don't care if they go all over the place. That doesn't matter. Now I wonder if this is the unit that I just shorted the fuse across on the controller board. I'm pretty sure it is, and that's okay. For me, it's perfectly fine. I'm not concerned about that. Lift this out. Pull this out. And is this the unit that I shorted the fuse across? No, remarkably, it's not the unit that I shorted the fuse across. So right here we have this little, effectively it's just a little resistor fuse right here. And would you know, whoops, it's intact. Why does this camera look like it's only capturing at 60 frames per second? Is it just me? Hold on just a second. Let me check something here. See, this is what pisses me off about OBS. It doesn't remember settings. I don't know if that's... Is it just me, or is this capturing at... Is this capturing at 60 frames per second? Doesn't seem to be. Or is it just my preview that's not capturing at 60 frames per second? Can anyone comment? Can anyone comment, for God's sakes? Ah! Seems smooth? Okay. Probably that's all this is. Probably that's all that is, and it's just the preview. So, we're going to pull this shield out, and somebody asked if we're going to take care of the battery. We are absolutely going to take care of this battery. We're going to take care of the battery. We're going to put this to the side, though, and we're going to go ahead and continue dressing this system down. Now, we've got a screw here that I need to, whoops, I need to just carefully come in here and pull that out. And I think that's everything. I think we're ready. I'll back this out just a bit so you guys can see. I think we're ready to pull this shielding out. So I'm just going to lift very carefully. The board will probably come with it. That's fine. Grab it like so. Beauty, 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 beauty. Everything's looking great. Man, this is such a nice board. Sega in the late 90s, they were really, quite frankly, ahead of their time. Now I'm just going to very gently and very carefully separate this top plating here, which also acts as a heat sink. As you can see, we have a very nice and clean thermal pad here that came. I came last night. So we're going to move this to the side, and we've got these little thermal pads here. These are in excellent shape. No reason to switch those out. If you remove this carefully and your Dreamcast is in relatively good condition, you can absolutely repurpose these thermal pads, which is exactly what we're going to do here. So we're going to put this to the side. This thing is quite cherry. We're going to move all this stuff out of the way because we need to talk about this. Now, there's a rechargeable battery on the Dreamcast. I think it's a piece of crap. The battery and the charging circuit that's supposed to keep this energized doesn't really have enough gas to keep and maintain the charge on this battery. We're going to remove it, and in lieu of that, Steve Kulov and I worked on this several years ago. We are going to replace this chargeable battery with a CR2032 with a coin cell holder, but we're also going to use a diode that is going to block the charging voltage and the charging current circuit from trying to energize the CR2032. Now give me just 1 second here. Let's see here. I have... Okay, 1 second. Okay, let me make sure this is right. Just uno momento. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about how we're going to install this battery and how we're going to block the charging circuitry from doing anything, because the CR2032 is not rechargeable. This battery is just going to, the real-time clock and the settings are just going to survive based off the charge that's in the CR2032. This will last much longer than an ML2032. This CR2032, if you use a good CR2032, will probably last much, much, much longer than the ML2032 that's a rechargeable replacement. So having said that, let's get in here and let's talk about it. The way... Oh my god, it's loud. The way we're going to handle this, and I'll go ahead and take this out too, is we're going to zoom in real quick, and we're going to take this. Now we have this resistor here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to grab and block voltage from this node. How I'm going to do that is legendary, and I'm going to show you. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and remove this battery. So let's just turn this to the left, and I'm not even going to put any fresh solder on here. Let's just see if I can hold this like a real man or a woman. Let's be inclusive. And we're going to come right in here, and I'm just going to advance that tip. And we're going to give it just a second here to go molten. Molten, beautiful, cleaned. Right here, go molten. Whoops. 3 seconds, clean, beautiful, nice and liberated. Final prong here. Beautiful. Perfect. We're already making great progress. So with that being done, the CR2032 or the ML2032, it gets liberated. Now this is what this looks like. It's an ML2020. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's an ML2020. 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters. Or let's see, 2032. So the size of the battery is determined by the code. This is a 2020, and we're going to throw this away. Oh! And what we're going to do in real time, this is really fun. I'm going to back this up so you guys can see. We're going to take this battery holder, and we're going to put it into position, just like so. Okay, nice and deep in there. Nice and deep. Okay, very simple. Tight against the board, no problem. We're going to come right here like this. Bounce the light off this so you guys can see what I'm doing here to a degree. Let's see, does that bounce the light off? Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, so we're going to come in here. I'm going to zoom in. And we're going to grab some solder. Beautiful. And I'm going to hold this somewhat at an angle, and I'm just going to come right in here. Now watch carefully. We're going to take a joint. We're going to load our tip up just a bit here, like that. And I'm going to come right in here. We're going to go to Tuna Town. We're going to come right in here. Okay, solder on the tip, solder on the joint. Boom. Beautiful. Come right here. Again, solder on the tip, solder on the joint. Let that wick in beautifully. Good. That looks a little dry. Okay, beautiful. Man, what is going on? Hold on. Get a little flux on that. And let me adjust the temperature of this. I'm not really a fan of that. Oh, I'm at 223 degrees. Hold on, watch this. Press this little button here. So there's this little button here, right? Watch this. Ooh, now we're up to 327 degrees. Perfect. So we're going to come right in here. Let's see if this comes to temperature, and let's see if this flows a little better. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's a miracle. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Doesn't get any cleaner or nicer than that. Okay, beautiful joints. We've installed our We have installed our battery socket. Now, before we put that battery in here, oh my gosh, Martin, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you. God bless you. God bless your families. It's amazing that you need heat to solder. But to block that charging current, we're going to take the resistor that's already in position, and there are a couple things that we can do. The easiest thing to do is just to zoom back in here so you guys can see once again. We're going to grab this node right here, and we're just going to solder this. Like so. Bring your tool in, give it a nice little swivel, pull, great. Now with that desoldered, what I'm going to do, looking for my cutters, is we're going to cut this. I'm going to cut this about yay high. About like that. Watch this. I'm going to cut that out, and as you can see, because we desoldered it from the bottom, falls right through. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our diode, and we're going to put it in position and grab that same node. Now watch carefully. This is where things get a little sexual. I'm going to put this into position so you guys can see. I'm going to take just a bit of solder here, and I'm going to pretend a couple of things. The first thing that I'm going to pretend is I'm going to pretend this lead that we DC'd, and I'm just going to take some solder and I'm going to run it up and down very quickly. Our diode. Now let me just clean that up a bit here because that was it's a little unsightly. Now that's perfectly reasonable. Now what I'm going to do is, I'll put just a drop of flux on here. It doesn't take much. But what I'm going to do is I am going to cut this. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to lay it flat, and I'm just going to cut this. Now, you guys can pretty much get an idea here of what's happening. I'm going to mate these two leads, and I'm going to cut them appropriately or accordingly to size. So this might get out of the way. This might get out of frame a little bit, but I want you just to see, just like that. Just like that. Now, I've not soldered the bottom. I didn't solder the bottom because I'm going to use that to control my positioning. So watch carefully. We're going to come right in here. And I'm just going to put this right into position like so. Well, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my tip with just a little bit of solder. So we're going to come right in here. Now watch. Right in the belly of that tip, there's a little solder. Perfect. Now watch. We're going to make sure this is in frame so you guys can see. I'm going to take it. I'm just going to use the bottom of this lead. Perfect. Just as a driver. Just so I can drive this thing and navigate it wherever I want it to go. Now watch carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you do it just right, and if you do it with finesse and grace, this will look like one single piece. Now that's quite nice. Now all we're going to do now is we're just going to flip this on its side. We're going to cut this down just like that. And we're just going to come in here, whoops, with our heated soldering iron. We can get this to focus. Is it going to focus? I don't know. Does it ever? Ugh, this camera's already being a pain in the ass today. Well, it's going to be a little... Well, no, it's not going to be a little blurry. We don't believe in blurriness here. Let's see if this helps. Okay, let me back that out just a bit. And are we getting better? Yes, we're getting better. Okay, perfect. So we're going to just take this... Oh, that's much nicer. Okay. We're just going to come right in here, and we're just going to finish this joint up. Just like that. Beautiful and beautiful. Now we have used the diode, and our diode is directionally correct. Our diode is now going to block that charging current from going through this resistor, and then from this resistor, as you can see, boom, jams right into this battery. That is no longer an issue. Okay, so, having said that, our battery gets inserted into position just like that. We're done. That's the battery mod. Now we can set this to the side, and we can get to work on the actual project at hand, which is the DC HDMI installation. I'm just bringing up some instructions here. So, according to the instructions, now does everybody have the instructions? I need everybody to follow along with me. I am going to put these back in here. Okay, so let's see what we have to do here. The first thing that we have to do, according to these instructions, let me clean up a little bit here so we don't make a terrible mess. Oh, yeah, always wanted to do that. The first thing that we need to do is install the adhesive backing material. This already came installed. I believe they were doing this from the factory now, or they were doing it from the factory, so that has been settled. The second step here is mounting the HDMI board. This is tedious. Take your time. You need a good fit on the HDMI connector, okay? Disassemble the Dreamcast so the motherboard is free. The motherboard has been freed. Use side cutters and pliers, bend metal back and forth until it snaps off cleanly to remove the highlighted areas in yellow. So if we're looking at this picture here, it appears that they want me to take this component, cut here, and cut here, using side cutters. Side cutters are for pussies. We're not pussies. We're manly men. I'm going to use a Dremel, and I'm going to score... I'm just kidding. Side cutters are perfectly fine. But the problem with side cutters is if we bring side cutters in here and we take pliers to work this out, unfortunately you have a tendency of warping and distorting and deforming the rest of the metal, because as that metal fatigues, it's going to have an effect on the surface area around it. So looking at this picture, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cutters, and I'll try to do this on camera. Let me pull this up a little bit here. Oh God, you guys just saw my Johnson. Alright, we're going to bring this up like this, and we're going to sort of get this in frame. And I'm going to come right here. Now, I think you guys can see this pretty well. Yeah, you guys can certainly see that. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to start cutting. Let's do it. I eat these sparks. I eat them. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's see. Okay, very good. Now, when you do that, we're not warping this metal, we're not deforming it, we have very clean, almost factory-looking cuts here. So, having said that, that step appears to be completed, although I think they want us to remove this little tab too, according to the picture, so I'm going to take our cutters again. Do I want to, the question is, do I want to... Yeah, okay, so here we go. Once again. Now, I've scored that, and what I'm going to do is I will take some pliers. I'll take some pliers, and I'll help this along. Just like that. And I'll clean this up by deburring this. Making sure you guys can see. I'm going to deburr this. Come to the bottom. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, great. So we've made these little edits, as you can see. Excuse me. Let me clean up some of this. Let me clean up some. Let me clean up some of this debris here because we got a few little pieces of carbon and metal all sprout about. Don't want this on our new system, so let me just always clean as you go. Always clean as you go. That's very important. Okay? Good shape. Let's see what we have here. According to the directions, let's see. I think I did that in the right place. Yep, right here. Now we've got this nice blunted edge here. Almost looks factory. Didn't warp the hell out of it. Looks fantastic. Let's put this down to the side. Let's see what the next step is. Okay, now they want us to take the bottom tray out. Who's following along with the directions? Who's following along with the directions? Who is following along with the directions? I want to know. I need to know. Oh, you're going to come out of there. You're going to come out of there if I have to make you. There we go. Okay. The next bit of work here, it looks like that we need to cut this off from this area down. So all of this has to go. What I'm going to do is hold it to the side, where we'll make a nick here. Really, in this instance, I think you probably could get away with some side cutters. Let's see. Let's see. So if we're holding it like we want to be held by various women. All right, so right here, I'm going to come right in here. Okay, let's see if this deforms it too badly. I'm going to come right across, just like that. See, I don't like... See, this is the problem. I don't like that edge that it leaves. I can't stand that. I absolutely can't stand that. And if we deform this down, which I'm not going to do, I'm going to cut this. Give me just a second. Let's cut through this. We'll score it, and then we'll snap it. But really, these directions are not very good. I don't recommend, really, this guide in terms of the procedure of cutting and bending metal. It's not an ideal way of doing it. I'm sorry. I have to be honest with you about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right in here like a man. We'll zoom into this motherfucker. Fucking around. We use tools around here. All right, we're going to come right in here and watch this. I'm going to come at an angle. Okay, I'm going to come at an angle. I'm going to score this. I'm going to make a nice score line. I'm sorry if I'm shouting, but it's as if I have to overtalk the sounds of the tools here. I want to score this just a little bit more. And we're going to just take that off like that. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to clean this edge. Now look, see this edge is a little blunt. It's a little sharp and it's a little jaggedy. We're going to take the surface of our cutting wheel. I'll hold it just like this. Now watch, we're taking the surface. We're not taking the edge. We're taking the face of the cutting wheel. And I'm going to come right in here. And I'm just going to start flattening and blunting this out like so. Take a bit of that burr off. Like that. Perfect. Okay. Now we've blunted that edge beautifully. Much cleaner. I don't like... See the way this metal bends up? I just can't stand that. Okay? Okay. Is this any better? I'm sorry about the noise. Does this sound any better? I think it's the I think it's the noise cancellation fighting my voice with the Dremel, if I had to guess. Now the next order of business would appear that we need to take out... Sorry. Okay, so guys, sorry about that. It's going to happen again. We have to take out this large section here. And again, I'm going to score this, and we're going to cleanly take it out. And I think this is the last bit of any metal work that we have to do. So just bear with me. We're going to do this. We're going to turn this on, and we're going to score on this line right in this fold here. And we're just going to pop this out. I don't need motherfucker, I am the protection for my eyes. These sparks that you're seeing being emitted, that's my dinner, fucker. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it all. Here we go. Ready? We'll zoom in here a little bit. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Just trying to get a good angle here. It's pretty good. Well, hold on. Let's see. You guys have to understand, this is really hard to do because I have to hold this in frame, I have to hold my hand in a weird way, and I still have to have relatively good control of the tool. This is not easy to do, but I think if I do that, I think if I hold it like this at an angle, I think this is the best way to go. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going for it. I just want to show you, look at this gorgeous score line. Very straight, very uniform. We're going to bring this on down, and we're going to score the end here. I'm going to have to change my position. But when we do that, we don't have to bend anything. This will score and snap off beautifully. Let's finish it off. Just making sure you guys can see. Where am I going to put this? I'll just put it here. Now, let me clean up again real quick. All this is metal. We're going to wipe this away. We don't want to scratch the surfaces of our plastic. Using IPA, just absorb those particulates. Okay? Now, once again, we have this nice score line here. Let's take our tool, let's take our vice grips here, or our pliers, and let's see if our score line is going to allow us to cleanly snap this. So I'm going to grab here, and I'm just going to bite, I'm going to bend a little bit. Doesn't get much cleaner than that. We're just going to take and zip this off. We're going to deburr this and zip the remaining material with our Unitarian here. We're going to clean this line up nicely. Let's go for it. That, super smooth, super good. Clean up again. Put up some of our tools. Don't think we need these anymore. Okay, so what have we learned? What we've learned today is that according to these directions, we're supposed to just cut and bend material with tin snips and pliers. Unfortunately, when doing that, we have a problem because we tend to deform the metal encompassing the areas that we're working with directly. If we use a better tool, such as a cutting wheel and a Dremel, we can get an excellent finish here without compromising the metal or the material. Now, these are all very nice, very clean. Sorry if this is a little blurry, but absolutely deburred, absolutely not sharp, very blunted. Okay. Nice and rounded, nice and blunted. We're all set. So I think if I hit back here, I think those are all the things that we need to do. Yes, those are all the things that we need to do to the metal. Now we have to use some flush cuts to get into the floor of the case, and we have to cut some material. So I'm going to bring this out, and it appears, yeah, we have to cut some material. So right here, we're going to be cutting this. According to the directions, we just flush cut this out, not a problem. Bring my flush cuts in here, do some rotations, just like that. Beautiful, okay. Cut that standoff out. And now we're going to move into another part of the case right here. Here, we're going to take our flush cuts once again, and we're going to cut this out smoothly. Okay, now what you can do, here's another great use for this tool. If you can't get that little bump off, use it with great care and use your cutting wheel. Now watch carefully. I'm going to come right in here. You guys really can't see this very well. That would just focus. I'm going to come right in here. And we're going to plane that off just like that. Much nicer, nice and flat. The next step is to create the 3D printed, or to use a 3D printed jig to make the HDMI hole. I've already done this, and I'll tell you why I've already done this. This jig is 3D printed. Unfortunately, with 3D printed parts, unless you keep your printers tuned and maintained at all times, there is a lot of variance here in this part. You can see it shaking. We're talking by a couple of millimeters. This port that we're creating is already super small. It's best to freehand this if you have the time, in my opinion, because when you freehand this, you have perfect control. It's still a hand job, but you have relatively tight control of where you're removing material and where you're keeping material in place. Now, what I did is I freehanded this port, and when we put this in position, there's this little notch here that the kit fits into, just like so. When I get this in position, you'll notice it doesn't want to go. It's nice and tight. It's nice and tight because I freehanded this port so that it is virtually perfect as can be for our kit. I always freehand these. Very tight, unlike Bob's anus. So here we go. That part's been done. Thank you so much for the sub. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Now we've done that. The next order of business here is we have to drill 2 small holes. So if I understand correctly, it appears that we put this back into position. Let me back this out so everyone can see, including myself. It appears that we put this unit back into position. Okay, everything's nice where it's supposed to be. We put our kit into position, and our backing is already on there. Just take your time. Okay, whoops. Come on, there we go. Perfect. Oh, my little thermal pad, keep that intact. Okay, we've got our kit in position. Now, we're supposed to drill 2 holes here and here. Let's see. Right here and right here. So, how do we do that? Well, I'm going to see what the directions say. Drill 2 small holes using the PCB as a guide and mount the PCB with the supplied M2 screws and nuts. Drill 1 hole and mount the screw, then drill the other hole and mount the screw. It's very hard to read some of this sometimes. But, having said that, I'm going to find a suitable drill bit. Now this is an M2. Let's see, this is an M2. I'm going to use... do I have an M2? This will do the job just fine. I'm going to come right in here. You guys can't see this. I'm going to actually get my drill and do this off camera. Well, not off camera, but I'm going to hold this so I don't goon this up. So I'm going to put my drill bit into my drill, and I'm going to ruin my HDMI kit with the drill bit. Okay. I'm going to put this in between my legs. A place where many people wish they were. And I'm going to advance my drill into position here. First of all, before you do any drilling, make sure that your kit is very tight in position, and make sure that it is nice and level and plumb, which we are here. Now, you could use a little hole punch here, make some marks, and then pull the kit out and drill. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this, as the guide says, I'm going to use the kit as a drilling guide. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here in my butthole. All right, here we go. Perfect. Okay, come over here. Sorry, guys, I have to do this off camera, but you know that's just the way it is. Do 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 do. I wrote that. Okay, here's the other hole. Hopefully this doesn't go through my leg. Perfect. Okay. So we've got 2 holes here. Oops. I'm going to remove this kit. I want to clean this because the directions don't say anything about cleaning out the metal shavings. So we're going to just dump this out. And then I'm going to use some compressed air. Sorry you guys can't see this. And now the most important thing that we need to do that the instructions also don't mention or tell you about is that when you make these holes and you're dealing with plastic like this and it gets hot as the drill bit's rotating, wherever you poke a hole out, you're going to have a lot of debris and material that you're going to have to deal with. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. There's a couple of ways you can deal with that. You can either use something like a Forster bit or a stepping bit, and I'll show you that, to sort of round it off. See this material right here? It's kind of nasty. So you can either take and just use a X-Acto knife to clean up these edges, which is probably the best way to go about it, or scratch them off a bit with your fingernails, and the material that's left over, take a bit and just bore that just a bit to clean up these edges, because these edges are already gross anyways. And it just takes a couple of rotations. You don't have to put this in a drill, just use your hand. Okay? Just like that. And that radically will clean, this will radically clean up these areas. We're going to have a screw in these positions anyway, so it's not like it's a terrible deal breaker into the world sort of situation nonetheless. Let me just get in here and clean this up a little bit, because this is not very kind looking. Okay, so again, we have some debris here. We removed most of the, well, this little pad is just getting absolutely murdered, but it's still perfectly fine. We have some debris here. Not a big deal, like I said. Just a few rotations with our stepping bit here by hand. Okay, just clean it up like that. A couple of rotations. And you'll be left with a pretty nice finish there. And the rest of that material will just poke out when we remove, or when we put the bits in. So the bits themselves, we got a couple of M2 screws and bolts here. We'll go ahead and we'll put our kit back into position. Okay, nice and easy. Take your time, it's not a race. Perfect, okay, that snaps in beautifully. And we're going to remove our little nuts and our little bolts. And we're just going to push them through, so that's just a matter of flipping these upside down. See, it's a Phillips. Let's see, I think I got a Phillips here somewhere. What did I do with it? What did I do with the Phillips bit right here? I'm going to use my electric screwdriver. It's going to be a little bit off camera, but you guys really don't need to know or see this. It's pretty self-explanatory to drive screws through, so I'm just going to hold this like this. Come in here like this. That's all I'm doing, and I'm just going to come right in here. A few little spurts, watch, just a few little shots, just like that. Nice and easy. Now when these start to come through the other side, like we have here, I'll go ahead and take a nut. And I'll just position the nut over. Just makes my job a little bit easier if I do it this way. I'll come through a little more. Okay. Now see, my nut is on there. Now all I'm going to do, just to make this, like I said, super easy, I'm just going to hold this nut, tighten it up a little bit. I still got a ways to go here. Well, come on. I still got a ways to go here. Nice and tight. That's all it takes. Very nice. Okay, so we'll repeat that same process here for the other hole, which is right here. Okay, nice, very nice and lined up. Okay, there we have it. There's our little screw, and I'm just going to make a few little short spurts, a few little shots. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, again, we're starting to come through the top here. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and get our nut in position. I'm just going to hold it there. Well, I was going to try to hold it there, but I'm just not, you know. That's pretty good. Now, I'm going to come right in here, a few little shots of the good old electric. Now, if you do that, you'll notice everything's basically self-guiding here, and you don't have to worry about getting a wrench in here and to torque these nuts down. Hold your hand over it, lock it with your thumb. It doesn't take a lot of torque, and it doesn't take a lot of pressure here. I'm sorry this is out of focus, but just come in here while you're holding it. A few little shots. That's it. When it tightens up against your thumb, that's all you got to do. So this kit has been secured. We have an extremely tight hole here in the back. If this would ever focus, for Christ's sakes. There we go. We got an extremely nice tight hole here in the back. Back it out a little bit. There we go. Focus! Very nicely done. So, that stuff is all finished. I think we're finally going to get into some soldering. Now let's go down the line here. Okay. GDMI. Okay, so now we have to install this antennae. Doesn't even make any sense. Okay, so is anyone following along with me? Install the provided antenna. I'm going to link this again so everyone can just do a word search for this. Let's look at this. Just do a word search and type in install the provided antenna. Now we're at this step here where there's two different ways to route the antenna. If you're just using the stock GD-ROM drive or you're using the USB GD-ROM, there's a picture here of how you should route the antenna wire, which by the way is this. This is the antenna wire. Now if we look at this picture, it's fairly self-explanatory, but if we click on the GDMU picture, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like that picture implies that you just install, let's see, you install the antenna and then later on you just, hold on, let me just flatten that out. Later on, when you put the thing back together, you just mount it on top of the top plate, I guess, but there's just no explanation about that. So GD-ROM users, install the antenna, keep it out of your way for now, and when you put the thing back together, you then route the bastard, there we go, you then route this antenna over this shield, which is going to live somewhere to the effect of like this. Right? Okay, so we'll keep the antenna there. Okay. Cool. We'll keep the antenna there. And let's see, installing the flat flex. Okay, so now we're doing some soldering. Amazing. So we have the motherboard here. Okay. Now it wants us to remove a couple of resistors right here. Yes, these two resistors specifically will be floating off. That's very easy to do. Okay. Take some solder here, make sure our iron's up to temperature. Okay. I'm going to come right in here, very easy. Apply some solder to the opposing side of the resistor. No problem. Come right here. Just like that. Perfect. Now I'm going to clean these little areas up with just some fresh solder. Perfect. Doesn't get any nicer than that. Okay. So we've removed those two resistors. Remove excess solder from pad. No, we're not going to do that. That's a dumb piece of advice. Align flat flex with audio IC and tack into place. Okay, so now we have a flex cable. Okay. With a little resistor array. Now, according to this, let me get my bearings. CE201. The problem with these pictures is that you don't get a blown out view. You get just something. Like, what does that mean? Align flat flex on with, okay, I understand we're putting a flex cable on, but this, you should, so when you do documentation, and this documentation is about a 2 out of 10, but when you do documentation, before you go and drill into your blow-up shot like this, let's say that we're working here, and let's say, for example, just, academic sakes here, we're just aligning a flex cable to a series of pins. Before you have the blow-up, call it out. Have an overview like this of the board and say and then in your documentation have a large square and say this is the area of the board we'll be working in. And then after you have this picture, then do your blowout where you have the nice exposed IC, because otherwise when I look at this I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's several QFPs on here. Well, there's one QFP, but ultimately I can't make sense of that. So that is just a suggestion to people who are going to create documentation. Have a blown out shot, have the area that we'll be working in highlighted, and then blow it in. Blow me. So according to this, 01 to, we'll be working right here. Okay, right in here. Now, is this good enough, or would you guys like this a little tighter? I can go tight. I can go really tight. Just ask your mom. All right, so I'll come in a little bit tighter than that because how tight's my middle name, you know what I'm saying? All right, there we go. Let's see, right in here's where we are. Oh! That's pretty good. That's acceptable. So, we're going to come off this. Couple things you can do. Now, what I would recommend, if you're using a system like this, it's been a while, it has some age on it. Let me just read the documentation here again. Align flat flex on with audio IC and tack into place. Very self-explanatory. When you're dealing with something that's not been serviced in a while, may have just a bit of oxidation, what I recommend you do, just take your tip, come in here, just a drop of flux on there, or just a drop of solder on there. You can use a drop of no clean if you would like. Clean that off. Let's just make a few passes here. We know where we're going with this ultimately. Let's just come in here. Just touch. Touch. It's okay. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care if it bridges. Okay. Now I want to go with the fillets first, so we're going to touch the fillets. I'm going to come across. Don't care how this looks. It's not really important. It's not the point of this exercise. Now, what I'm then going to do is I'm going to change out my fluxes because I hate that no clean. And I'm going to come right in here. It's a bunch of flux, but that's fine. And I'm just going to hold, press down, hold, press down. I'm not pressing down. I'm just moving the iron forward, the iron. Okay, just like that. Beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. Clean up our tip. All of this bridging that you see is because we have a lot of oxidation. Now, I don't normally do this because it's not necessary for me because I would work this thing on really quick. But I'm showing you, if you're new, this little step right here can go a hell of a long way. So we've gone ahead and we've just put a little bit of flux on there. We've pre-tinned these leads. That's all there is to that. This is going to make this job go a lot easier. Now, according to the documentation here, we're supposed to line this 1, 2, 3 with pin 3. That's very easy. So I'm going to come right here. And we're just going to count over 1, 2, 3, just like that. Whoop, easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. All right. My hand's in the way. There we go. Now I've got a little better control of this. So we're going to line this up just like that. Do a little touching. Do a little touching. Okay? A little touching goes a long way. I'm going to let this go. Ow, my hand. I'm going to tack this into place. Now, I got one corner tacked. I'm really not happy with the lighting of this, but I'm just going to have to deal with it. So I've got one corner tacked. I'm going to come over to the other side, and I'm going to make sure we've got good alignment all the way down, which we have perfect alignment. There's no way this gets any better for us. Now, I might burn the shit out of my finger, but that's okay. This is not the way I solder. This is not even a practical way of soldering. But when you're on camera and you got people that want to see how this works, you've got to make it work. Now, I'm just going to come in here, and this is just bodging. Not really soldering this into place. I'm just bodging. Now, I'm going to let this go because I'm done with that. I'm going to take my tip. What the hell did I do? Sorry about that. I'm going to take my tip, and I'm going to just put a drop. You can't really see that, but, well, yeah, you can see that. See, I just got like a little tiny bead of the sweet juices. And I want to come to the top again, and I'm just going to float some flux on there. Now watch carefully. This is where we separate the men from the boys. So we're going to come right in here. I'm going to hold it just like this at an angle, so hopefully you can see. Now watch carefully. We're going to come right on here on these fillets. Now we're just going to move and glide across. We're going to come to the end, and then we're going to come to the other side, and we're going to come and we're going to pull off just like that. That's how you get clean fillets every time. It's extremely clean. Now you'll see some people, they'll come in here and they'll want to paint like they're painting by colors, and you'll see them wave back and forth. This is all fine. I'm showing you this because you can do this. But the most efficient way of soldering is you're not worried about putting solder on top of these joints. In other words, you're not worried about putting solder on top of this pin and then putting solder on top of this pin and having them join. That's not functionally what's happening here. What we're really interested in is we're really interested in creating a connection in the fillet. Now, the fillet is the mound of solder that exists below the joint. You can't see it here. I'm touching these, but the fillet is what's really going to create the union between these pins and the soldering flex cable that we're using. And I'm just touching these to show you. You don't have to be afraid to put heat on these, but ultimately, dragging is just a matter of coming here to the corner, holding a position, coming across, coming off the work just like that. That's dragging. I want to clean this up just a bit because I think the reflection is partially why you guys can't see this very well. So just give me a second here. A little zap of the juices. Okay. Tastes delicious. So that's all there is to that. Not a big deal. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. Now we're supposed to align the flex down here with this DAC. And because we did such a good job up top, we don't have a lot here to do. I'm going to put this on its side like this. Okay. And we're just going to make sure all these pins line up, which that needs to come over just a bit, but that's perfect. Now, here's the way that I handle this. We're not going to do all that print prepping stuff. I want to take some solder right here. I'm going to just line my tip just like that. See my belly here? See the belly of my tip? Nice and healthy bead of solder. That's all I need. I'm going to come across the side here. Come across the side here. We're going to line this up. Make sure we're holding it perfectly flat to the board. And we're going to bring this in position. Okay, a little more. There, I had to move some of that out of the way because I couldn't see, but that all looks pretty darn good to me. So what I'm going to do now, I've kind of examined everything. I'm going to take this bottom side, watch carefully, come in here with the solder, move across slowly, come off the work, just like that. And we got a little bridge there. That's just a matter of coming back in here, starting here in the corner, going all the way across, and sweeping back the opposite direction. Boom. Just like that. We're going to move over here to the right, or to the bottom, or to the technically the left. Okay, and we're just going to line this up, just as you've already seen. A little tiny little bead of flux there, and a little bit of solder on the belly of that tip. Once again, we're going to line this up. Alignment there is perfect. I'm going to burn the shit out of my hand because I don't care. Watch carefully. We're going to use the belly of that tip. Got way too much on there. Sorry. We're going to use the belly of that tip, bring it right into position, and we're just going to let that heat absorb into those zones, and just like that. There's nothing to this. Again, you can see people come in here, and you can see them try to, like they're painting by goddamn numbers. We've talked about this. Oh, I just got to get this perfect. Oh, it's just never going to be right unless I get the solder perfectly over these fillets. That's not how solder works. And that becomes more of an art than it does, than it serves any really functional utility. Just watch. Sweep across. Nice and easy. Just like that. That's all it takes. Very simple. So, we'll go ahead and I'll spray this. We'll examine our work. Joints here look absolutely resplendent. These joints here, doesn't get any cleaner, doesn't really get any nicer. Exemplary. Oh, we got some nasty flux there, it looks like. Let me hit that. Let me just hit the corner here. Yeah, I got some flux. Let me take care of that. Okay. There's a little extra flux on there. Use it. Take advantage of it. But right here, we're going to clean that little area that looks a little caramelized. I want to come in here. Okay. Now, it looks like we have some areas here, obviously. We've got some vias here that we need to clean up. We're not clean up, but just solder into position. Here we go. Very simple. It's pretty good. Now, our alignment is never going to be perfect with this, but that's okay. We've got a good thing going here. I'm just going to come right in here. Okay, just like that. Come right in here to the other side of this resistor. I'm sorry, this capacitor. And if you don't feel comfortable with those joints, that's okay. Go ahead and just lather in some flux. Come in here to the corner. Boom. Come in here to the corner. Boom. Just like that. Let's fill these little wells here. That's all these are. Beautiful. Come over here. Same principle. You clean that, put a little more flux on there. Right in here, just float right across, just like that. Well, if I didn't suck so badly, well, the problem is I can't see what I'm doing. That's another real issue. Let me try to, there we go. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? Yeah, you can. Perfect, okay. Now, I didn't read the directions on that. I'm just assuming that's what we were supposed to do. And we have an area down here clearly that we're supposed to get into. And I'm just going to come right in here, hold this flat. You guys should be able to see this. And once again, that's the same procedure. We're just going to come in here. Just like that. That's a little overabundant. That's okay. I'll sweep to the left like that. Perfect. Okay. I think that is all of the soldering. Now, naturally, we need to just take a look here at everything that we got. Actually, you know what? Let me come in here and see what we have. Clean my tip. Put just a drop of the sexy juices on there. Perfect. Just wanted to clean that up a bit. Now, I think those are all the joints that we needed to make. Let's see, I think there's one more cap, though, right in here. Whoops, did not mean to hit that. I remember that, and the only reason I remember this is because I missed it when I did the video. Right in there. You guys see that bad boy? Not a problem. We're going to come right in here. Just like that. Beautiful joint. Now, I'm going to take... Whoops, hold on. I don't have any Kim wipes, but I do have some Q-tips that will work in a pinch. I'm just going to douse this. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to clean this with just a bit of elbow grease. That's all it takes. Okay. Perfect. That's perfectly reasonable. Now we're going to take this out. We're going to back it out. We're going to take a look at everything. Okay. Everything here is absolutely exceptional. Soldering is spot on. Let's back this out. Okay. Step 4.1, GDMU button press. If you have a GDMU and want to have the DC HDMI control the button release, control the button press release, please continue reading. Physical button presses still will work. If you do not care about the button press or do not want to solder a wire to your no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, gamepad and reset wires. Okay. Locate. Okay. Locate R601 and solder the two long wires. Okay, well, okay, so no, GDMU, I don't care about DC Digital controlling that. I'll do the button presses myself because, quite frankly, I don't trust the DC Digital to do that properly. I read in the forums that some games, like when you play D2, for example, it doesn't work properly because you have to be very specific with the button presses. So, having said that, locate R601 and R602 and solder two wires. Well, can you show me where they are? I mean, god fucking damn. Like, okay, that's great. Where are they? I'm assuming they're on the bottom? Okay, I guess so. Okay, right here. Okay, R601, R602. Again, be nice if, you know, people knew that. So we're going to solder two wires. Let's see, how does this work? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, the directions don't say this, I don't like fly wires just hanging out like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually strip and cut a couple wires here. So that's easy enough. R601 and R602, we're right here. Right here, okay. Right here. Okay, I understand. Sorry, I had to look at some stuff because these pictures are kind of not very descriptive. Now these wires that we're getting ready to, or that we are preparing, these are specifically for the controllers, or the controllers, so that we can access the OSD, we can change menus, we can change settings, and we can manipulate certain features of the kit. Now, I'm just going to pretend these real quick. Okay, 1, 2, perfect. God damn, I hate that. Okay, R601 and R602. That's what they want us to do, right? I think so, yes, maybe. Let's see, let me make sure that's correct. Yep, okay, so R601 and R602, those are right here. I'll go ahead and prep these a little bit. Whoa, 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 where am I? Here we go. Can you guys see those? Yeah, I think you guys can see those okay. Okay, we have some 0603 resistors, or are these 0805? I can't even tell anymore. I'm getting so old. Perfect, okay. Just a drop of flux there, and a drop of flux there. Perfect. Now I'm going to be very careful. I want this to be extremely clean, so I want to advance that. Just whoa, whoa, whoa. I want to advance that. Just like that. Perfect. We moved off a little bit, but that's quite all right. Same thing for right here. We're going to advance that in beautifully. Beautifully. Perfect. And then we're going to come right off. No, that's not perfect. I don't like that at all. This is so hard to do on camera because you can't see what you're doing, and it becomes really just sort of like a marathon race. Hold on, let me just clean this up here a bit. There we go. That's much more reasonable. Thank you. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now we have another point. Locate the test point in the image and solder a long wire. Well, that's very descriptive, Dan. Okay. R201 right here. Okay, so now we've got to come in right here. Doesn't really tell you. So glad I never installed these for people. I'm going to come right here. Now watch this very carefully. Right there. Now I'm going to make a cut right here. I'm going to come right in here. I'm going to strip this, get this prepped. Sorry if the camera's going all over the place. Thank you very much for the follow. I want that test pad to be nice and juicy. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for right there. Now we're going to put just a drop. Plenty. Let me turn it this way so I can see what the hell's going on. Yeah, you guys got a good. You guys have a pretty good view of that. Now I'm just going to bring this right in here. Now watch carefully. Heat the joint. Bring it in there. Doesn't get any cleaner than that. Okay, we've soldered all of these little control points. Okay. This says solder wire from R601 to P1, solder wire from R602 to P2. Okay. So now we have to bring. Whoa, 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 whoa. bring this into position so you guys can see. Let's see. Okay. So this board lives in here like this. Okay. Okay. I think I understand. And it lives in here like this. Right. So no. It lives in here like this is the front. Is there an... Okay, I understand. Gotcha. Sorry guys, I had to evaluate something. So I'll go ahead and strip these out. And we'll get these soldered up, and I think this is the last bit of soldering that we have to do with this kit. So I'm going to come right here. My cat's outside crying. Hold on, kitty. Perfect. Sorry guys, I'm just doing this off camera. Perfect, okay. Cut across. All I'm doing is just trimming this out. And we'll quickly solder these things into position here. Okay, so, according to the documentation, solder wire from 601 to P1. Okay, 601 is yellow. Okay. Let me clean up all this stuff down here. This might be, guys, this might be a little bit off camera. I'm sorry for that. I'm just going to try to clean this up the best I can. Okay. So, if I'm doing it that way, 601. .601 to P1, okay. Not a big deal. Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry about this. I'm not the man you thought I was all those years ago. Okay. Okay, reset is the orange wire. Perfect, okay. So what I've done is I've just interfaced this board here to this. Now, and I didn't leave myself a lot of room, and that's because I don't want there to be long, nasty wires. Everything's grouped and looks nice in here. So if anyone ever has to service this, including myself, it's just a matter of lifting this up and out of the way like that, and you can clearly see what goes where. All right, so now we have to install this. So now what we have to do, if I'm looking at this correctly, is we have to install this flex cable wire, like so, get it into position. Just like that. And then what happens is this, we cut out here, this gives room for this to come over. And this just lives here in the corner like so. Whoops. Sort of get this lined up a little bit better than that. First of all, let's make sure our thermal pads are in place, which they are. Great. And we're going to move this in here. We'll pull this back just a bit so we can have some room. Okay, that lives in there, that lives in there. Sorry guys, I'm just doing this off camera a little bit because I've got to kind of work this in. Perfect. So the main board's in position. Everything is hidden underneath. We have our ribbon cable in this position. Okay. Now we just put this back together. So let me go ahead and move this in, move that in. Everything here looks really nice. Let's get our top shield. And before we zip everything, I'm not going to zip all the screws in this tonight. We're just going to test it to make sure it works and that we're in good shape. Now we're going to take this, and because, notice, the reason we cut this out, once again, is because of this flex cable that lives right in here in this position. So we're going to be very careful when putting this back in to make sure nothing gets pinched. We're looking great. Nothing is being pinched. And everything here comes back together. When I get ready, I understand the directions. We're going to take the antenna and we're going to take the adhesive off and we're just going to put it right here. That's where this antenna is supposed to live. But we're not going to do that just yet. What I am going to do is I am going to put some of this back together. Let's see. Okay. Just like this. And then we're going to stuff this in here. Perfect. We're going to leave that in there like that. Perfect. Beautiful. That looks really nice. Let's go ahead and let's move some of this stuff out of the way. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you very much. Let's move some of the stuff out of the way and let's give this a quick test. Ooh. I'm going to come right over here. We're going to grab our power supply. And we're going to make sure, once again, that we have our little isolation shield, which we do right here. Okay, isolates the primary side of the power supply from all this metal. And I'm going to very carefully, if I can see, there we go. Everything's nice and positioned. Put this into place. Beautiful. Now, let's just move. I'm not even going to put the fan back in it just yet. Not really interested in doing that. Okay. This should be good for the purposes of testing. I'm going to move this right over here. Of course, we also need the power button, which is still mounted in the case, in the old case. Hold on. What I'm going to do before I do anything is I'm just going to test it. So, okay. There we go, there we go. Okay, now we're going to move over to our testing. Now, we're using the RetroTink 4K. I'm going to use this controller that was sent to me by a friend of mine, Retro Digital. It's very nice of him. Thank you, Retro Digital. He's a great modder out in Florida. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if we get anything, if I've plugged this in correctly. Here we have it. So we've got DC Digital up and going. Of course, the time's all jacked. What is it, 6:12? Today is February 2nd, or 3rd, I'm sorry. And let me see real quick. Hold on. I think my cord came out. Okay. Well, crap. Uno momento. That's online. Yeah, my RetroTink 4K has been a little temperamental here. Yeah, see how it comes off? Darn it. Yeah, it's annoying. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Oh my goodness. Oh, let me sit down. I can never get my capture right. My capture stuff set up correctly. I always have to get around here and I have to finagle with cables and mess around, and it's just never any fun. And I did it again. Oh gosh. Good Lord. I might have to go right. I might have to go straight into the source. Let's see. I might have to just bypass the RetroTink right now. It's my fault. I was back here messing with my video chain, trying to get this stuff going. Okay, let's see if that takes care of it. Now I've got this new video splitter, and it doesn't agree. There's a lot of things that it just doesn't want to play with, and it's super effing annoying. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. What did I do with it? Did I not connect it? Hold on. There are two things at play here. One, I'm an idiot, and I've messed with this capturing chain, and it's bellied everything up. But number two, let's see if this fixes it. Let's see if this takes care of matters the old-fashioned way. Ah, God, Zachary, what have you done? What have you done to this young man? He was just a boy. He was just a boy with a Johnson. All right, let's see what this takes. Let's see if this takes care of anything. Is it going? Okay, so there's the RetroTink, and let's see if this goes. Oh, for God's sakes, guys! Oh, Lord! The cat doesn't matter. The cat doesn't matter. Do you understand? Okay. Okay, so I think I've got that figured out. Let's see. 2, 3. Whoops. Let's see. God, I'm so old. And it is. Does the Dreamcast use 24-hour time? Yes, it does. So it is 1816, if I remember correctly, from my years of, not serving in the country, for the country. Okay, let's see. That should do that. Now, if I hold... Here we go. Perfect. Okay. Let's see. Perfect. Now, what is does the DC Digital one that we have here, does it offer a direct mode, so to speak? Okay, that's all working great. Let's put this back into place. Now there's a thingy in here. Where does that go? Where is the sensor? I don't remember in the Dreamcast. Where is the sensor for the drive? Whoops. Door. Is it back here? Does the Dreamcast even have a door? Well, it certainly has a door sensor. It has to have a door sensor. Put that in there. Let's see. Okay. A lot of good games. Let's see. So if we have, just to show everybody that this is, we're out where you can't see this. I'm outputting 4K. The HDMI receiver, if we go to status, you can see here we're outputting 1920. The input in the top left, we've got 1920. We've got 1080p resolution coming from the DC digital, and we're upsampling that. James sends a super chat. Thank you, James. Great enjoy observing the humor and attention to detail that you bring to your work. Looking forward to employing your expertise for my kits. God bless your family and viewers. Good sir. Thanks, James. Take care. And I'll be here when you need me. Unlike Bob, he'll never be there for you.
We're back. It's party time. Let's have some fun.
But
all right, let's go make some crazy money. Go ahead.
But we should be able to get it here. Let's make sure the reset works. Let's do a full reset. I mean, it's working perfectly fine. We're in good shape. The audio skipping because of some screwed up stuff I think I've got in my chain. I don't think that's the fault of the... it's not the hardware that's doing that. It's kind of me that's doing that. Sorry about that. But that is... we're going to call it there. I'm going to put this back together, but that's the install. That is... Oh, God, yeah. That is the entire procedure, at least, of installing the DC Digital. Our controllers work, our controller interface works, so we can get to the menu. We have a VGA output, a 480p output, a 1080p output. We have a really nice HDMI port in the back. But here soon, let's take this kit and let's compare it to some of the analog offerings of maybe HD Retrovision, Retro Console Accessories. They have a very nice... I think I have it here. Let's see. I've got all this stuff ready to test because I have, I'm a testing man. Let's see, is it in here? Hold on just a second. Let me see if it's in here. Where is that son of a bitch? Retro Console Accessories has... Here we have it. This is very nicely donated. Was a Retro Access Dreamcast VGA cable. I'm sorry, a SCART cable. It's a SCART cable that will do 15 kilohertz 240p 480i in addition to a 31 kilohertz 480p. We're going to run this against this mod and to see how close just a simple cable install or a cable insertion gets to this pretty invasive digital mod that we've just done. Now, yes, this mod is very, very, very much so invasive. I don't recommend this to anyone who doesn't have any soldering experience. As you saw, of course I breezed through it, but that's not to say that everyone can breeze through it. It's not the hardest thing to do, but it's certainly not trivial, and the DC Digital is not simple. So you can get into trouble really fast if you don't know what you're doing. Now, if you practice a little bit and you get some soldering technique down and you understand electronics to a degree, you'll have no problems. But just take your time. Oh, God. As for the DC's, as far as the, let me unplug this. The 12-volt supply. So the GDMU doesn't take advantage of the 12-volt supply, and there's a current sensing load, or there's a current load. There's a load that's put onto this 12-volt rail, this 12-volt regulator, that keeps it from thermally shutting down. Now, when you take the GD-ROM drive out and you replace it with a drive replacement, like we have here with this clone GDMU, this rail here cannot get super hot. Now, I took this rail out a long time ago. There is no 12-volt rail, which is what this is here. This is why we have this missing component. If you put just a load resistor across the output and ground of the 12-volt rail, just a simple resistor, that will satisfy the current load demand, and you don't have to take it out, and you're not going to overheat it. So that's the fundamental difference there. So did this help anybody? I'm curious to know if this stream was helpful to anyone who is looking to do this for themselves, and if this was informative. I'd like to get some feedback. You would like to compare this to the Retrovision HD Retrovision cables? You would like to compare it to that, would you? Well, you know, I have to tell you something, Miriam. Fortunately for you, would you believe me if I told you that in my possession... Now, where the hell did I throw them away? Oh, God. Where did I put them in all actuality? Somewhere in this lab is a pair of HD Retrovision component cables. And we're going to compare them. Let's see. Are they in here? Where? Oh, wait a minute. Speak of the devil. Speak of the devil, man. So what we'll be doing, this is not a joke. This is not a trick. Ah, damn. This is a production prototype that I've had for years. This is the final cable. This is real. We'll be testing this against other analog options in addition to the digital modifications. But these are real Dreamcast component cables that absolutely do the job. Now, as far as this installation goes, the instructions are just abysmal. I'm just going to tell you right now, if you followed along with me, things are very poorly explained. And one of the reasons I never installed these kits, I did an installation service, or I did an installation video to help them, was because I felt that the documentation was lacking and a lot of people were having a great deal of trouble with it. I created a video many years ago to help people, but I wanted to do this live because I've been asked so much. And by the way, the V2, the Pixel FX version of this, it installs identically. There is no real meaningful difference between that installation and this installation. It's all identical. As a matter of fact, even the flex cable is identical. You can use, if you want to put the V2 in a system that already has a V1 kit, you just take the V1 kit out and you leave the flex cables in there. So the point is, though, I really wanted to go through this because a lot of people just had trouble, and they've had trouble, and I've been asked. Boltar, would you please just do a live stream of this so we can see this happen in real time with no real fancy cuts or edits? I want to see it from beginning to end. There you go. I hope it was helpful. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you guys have fun modding. This is supposed to be a fun hobby where people have a good time and that people help each other and they enjoy each other's company and they're not douchebags and they don't get mad and bitter because somebody else has products that are available that they don't have, and you don't make up things reactionarily and say that you have products that you don't have, and you just sit in your Discord all day and you sulk because you're a little whiny bitch and you have no social skills and you have no dick. We don't need that. Let's treat each other well. Let's treat each other good. Let's help each other. I'm glad to have all of your help, and I'm glad to be able to help you. Everyone have a good time. Now, I have no penis myself, and that's fine. This is 2024. It's par for the course as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so listen. I'm going to put this together. I got to do some tests for some other things, but fully functional DC digital install. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Coupon code EatMyAss88. Use that. I'm just kidding. But hope this helps, guys. Anything else you want to see? By the way, do me a favor. I tweeted that I've restocked all the inventory on my store. If you guys could please retweet that for me. People have been asking me. I want them to know I've worked very hard. Everything's been tested. I've got inventory up. You can buy SNES, N64, Wii U kits, Super Stackers, 8 megabits, dual RGBs. It's all there. Please spread the word. The store's been restocked. I've got some Super Nintendo 2-chip stuff to do. I want to put this together. At any rate, I want to call this. Thank you for your help. Shalom. God bless you. And God bless America.